Welcome to Subject Soup. How did Canada become a key player in the global drug trade? Who's really behind these operations? And why are these super labs nearly impossible to shut down? Stay tuned as we uncover the dark truth behind Canada's drug super labs and the shocking reality that few dare to expose. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a wild, shadowy world hiding in plain sight, maybe even in the forests of British Columbia. That's right, we're diving inside Canada's secret drug super labs, the dark truth exposed. Get ready for a ride full of jaw-dropping facts, shady criminals, and some seriously gutsy cops trying to shut it all down. Canada's known for maple syrup and hockey, but it's got a darker side, a hotspot for some of the slickest drug labs around. How'd we get here? What's organized crime up to? And why does it matter? Let's jump in. So, how did Canada, land of A and double-doubles, turn into a hub for drug super labs? Spoiler, it's not because we ran out of beaver tails. This tale's got geography, chemistry, and some crafty criminals all mixed together. Canada's had a sneaky drug history for a while, think weed smuggling across the U.S. border back in the day. But things got wild in the mid-2010s when synthetic drugs like fentanyl and meth took over. These aren't backyard grow-ups, they're lab-made, high-profit killers. Canada was perfect for it, wide-open spaces like rural BC, a long border with the U.S., and easy access to precursor chemicals, the raw stuff you need to cook this junk. A lot of those chemicals came from China, shipped to ports like Vancouver or mailed in packages labeled cat litter or soy sauce. Sneaky, right? When China cracked down on fentanyl exports in 2019, criminals here said, "No problem, we'll make it ourselves." Enter the super labs. British Columbia is the star of this show. It's got forests to hide labs, a coastline for shipments, and a history of crime that's leveled up fast. In 2024, the Criminal Intelligence Service Canada said organized crime groups cooking synthetics in BC jumped from 51 to 99 in a year. These aren't tiny setups, they're industrial-scale labs pumping out millions of doses. Canada didn't just stumble into this, it was a perfect storm waiting to happen. Now, let's meet the masterminds, organized crime. These aren't lone cooks in a trailer, this is big business, run by groups with cash, networks, and zero remorse. In Canada, they've turned drug making into a slick operation. Picture this, biker gangs, Asian syndicates, and local crews team up to build labs like the one busted in Falkland, BC, in October 2024. The RCMP called it the largest and most sophisticated drug super lab they'd ever seen. It's part of a trend, crime groups pooling resources to churn out fentanyl, meth, even MDMA, sometimes all in one spot. A drug buffet, but way less fun. Distribution's next level too. They use Canada's trade routes, hiding drugs in lumber or hockey gear, to smuggle them out. Some stay local, feeding our opioid crisis, but tons get exported to the US, Australia, New Zealand. Why? Places like Australia pay big for meth. It's simple, supply, demand, and a lot of shady hustle. That Falkland lab alone was worth $485 million. That cash funds more crime, guns, violence, laundering, while the drugs leave overdoses and addiction behind. In BC, overdose deaths are soaring, and these labs are a big reason why. Organized crime's not just cooking, they're rewiring Canada's underworld. Time to go global. Canada's drug trade isn't solo, it's tied into a worldwide web of cartels, and the connections are bananas. Who's Canada teaming up with? Let's unpack it. First, Mexican cartels. Yep, the narco heavyweights are in on this. The RCMPs spotted their fingerprints in BC labs, like a meth recipe called P2P, a cartel classic. In November 2024, they busted 3 guys in Surrey linked to a Mexican crew importing cocaine and cooking meth. Mexican passports were waved at the press conference, talk about a power move. Theory is, cartels are outsourcing production to Canada, where it's safer and easier to slip past U.S. borders. Then there's China. Most precursor chemicals, like the 5,000 liters seized in Falkland, come from there, shipped via mail or cargo. It's a long-distance deal. China sends the ingredients, Canada cooks, and profits get split. But it's not just them. Canadian drugs hit Australia, New Zealand, even Southeast Asia. The U.S. gets a ton too, enough that President Trump threatened tariffs over fentanyl in 2025. Canada's a key player in this global game, thanks to its tech, space, and that handy U.S. border. We're like the middleman nobody saw coming. Let's get serious. These synthetic drugs aren't just a crime story, they're a disaster waiting to happen. Fentanyl, meth, MDMA, they're flooding the market, and they're dangerous as heck. Why? Potency's the big one. Fentanyl's 50 to 100 times stronger than morphine. A speck can kill you. That Falkland lab had enough for 95 million lethal doses. That's Canada's population twice over. And it's not just fentanyl, labs mix it with meth or MDMA, so you never know what you're getting. In 2024, 79% of Canada's opioid overdose deaths involved fentanyl. Users and paramedics are flying blind, and deaths are spiking, here and abroad. The labs are risky too. Toxic fumes, explosive gases, corrosive waste, it's a nightmare. Cleanups costing millions, and if something blows, it's not just the criminals in danger, it's everyone nearby. Plus, the drugs fuel addiction, wreck families, and swamp healthcare. The market's drowning, and the fallout's brutal: health, safety, society. This isn't victimless, it's a wrecking ball. Alright, time for the good guys. Law enforcement's not twiddling their thumbs, they're hitting back hard. What's the plan? The RCMP's leading with epic busts. That Falkland raid? Months of work, 89 guns, 54 kilos of fentanyl, 390 kilos of meth, $485 million off the streets. November's Surrey bust nabbed cartel suspects, and earlier raids in Maple Ridge took down more labs. Elite teams like the Clandestine Laboratory Enforcement Unit are in hazmat suits, dodging toxins to shut these places down. Border security's on it too. The Canada Border Services Agency's snagging precursors, 30 tons in Enderby in 2024 alone, with scanners and dogs. The feds are throwing cash at it. Trudeau's $1.3 billion border plan from 2025 adds choppers, tech, and a fentanyl czar. There's talk of listing cartels as terrorists, bringing in size alongside the RCMP. Conservative leader Poilievre wants 2,000 new border agents and better scanners. It's not flawless, prosecutions lag, and cartels are slippery, but they're adapting, fighting, and pushing back. The good guys are in the game. And that's the dark truth about Canada's secret drug superlabs, exposed. From quiet towns to global cartels, this is how Canada became a drug hub, how crime runs the show, and how synthetics are wreaking havoc. But law enforcement's swinging back. What do you think? Did you know Canada was this deep? Stay curious, and maybe watch those forests. If you've been enjoying the content and finding it helpful or interesting, I'd love to have you join our community by subscribing to the channel. It's completely free and helps the channel grow so I can keep bringing you even more awesome content. No pressure, but your support means the world to me. Thank you for watching, I appreciate you.